I was in a meeting with my investment advisors when I first saw the Instagram post. My phone was face down on the conference table. I'd silenced it for the meeting, but the screen lit up with a notification preview. Brooke Winters tagged you in a post. Brooke was my sister. She rarely tagged me in anything, so curiosity made me glance at the notification during a lull in the presentation. The preview showed a photo of an elegant restaurant interior, champagne glasses, my mother's smiling face. I waited until the meeting wrapped up to check Instagram properly. There it was, a carousel of photos from what was clearly a party. My mother in a beautiful dress, surrounded by family. My sister Brooke and her husband Derek. My brother Connor and his wife Lisa. Their kids. My father. All dressed up, all celebratory. The caption read, "Celebrating Mom's 60th at La Maison. Sparkles clinking glasses, so grateful for family." At Derek Winters, at Connor Winters, at Lisa Winters, #milestone, #family, #blessed. Mom's 60th birthday. Today. I scrolled through the photos. Appetizers, champagne toasts, the restaurant's signature dessert. 23 people in the group photo. An intimate celebration with close family. Except they'd forgotten to invite one family member. I checked the date. March 8th. Mom's birthday was definitely today. I'd marked it in my calendar 3 months ago, started looking for gift ideas in February. I'd assumed someone would tell me the party details eventually. They hadn't. I sat in my car in the parking garage staring at the photos. This wasn't the first time. Brooke's baby shower last year. Found out through Facebook after the fact. Connor's promotion celebration. Saw the photos on Instagram 3 days later. Dad's retirement party. My mother had mentioned it casually 2 weeks after it happened. Surprised I hadn't known. But this felt different. This was Mom's 60th birthday. A milestone. The kind of event where you make sure everyone knows, where you plan months in advance, where you don't just forget to tell someone. They hadn't forgotten. They'd chosen not to invite me. I could have called my mother right then. Could have asked why I wasn't included. Could have made them feel guilty or embarrassed. But something stopped me. Instead, I opened my banking app and checked my business credit card statement. I ran a company called Hartley Property Group, real estate investment and management. The business had multiple corporate cards for different purposes. I had the primary card. My CFO had one. And unfortunately, because I'd once thought it would be convenient, I'd given my father a card for emergency business expenses 3 years ago when he'd been helping me with some property purchases. I'd never asked for it back. I scrolled through recent charges. And there it was. March 3rd, La Maison Restaurant, $12,000. $12,000. Charged to my business card. 5 days ago. I clicked on the transaction details, then called La Maison directly. La Maison, this is Antoine speaking. How may I help you? Hi, I'm calling about a reservation for tonight. Party name would be Winters or Hartley. 1 moment please. Pause. Yes, I have a reservation for Winters. Private dining room, party of 24, 6:30 p.m. this evening. Can you tell me when that reservation was made? Let me check. March 3rd. Confirmed with a deposit of $12,000 charged to a business credit card ending in 4892. My card. And what's the cancellation policy? For private dining room reservations, we require 72 hours notice for a full refund. Less than 72 hours results in forfeiture of the deposit, though the remaining balance is cancelled. What time is it now? 4:15 p.m. 2 hours and 15 minutes until the party. Well past the 72-hour cancellation window. I need to cancel that reservation, I said. I'm sorry, but as I mentioned, the deposit is non-refundable at this point. The reservation would still be cancelled, but... I understand. Cancel it anyway. And I need to dispute the charge that was made on March 3rd. The card was used without authorization. Oh. Antoine's voice changed, becoming more formal. If you're disputing the charge, I'll need to speak with management. May I put you on hold? Of course. I waited, watching the clock on my dashboard tick forward. 4:17 p.m. The party started at 6:30 p.m. They'd be getting ready now probably. Getting dressed, maybe already heading to the restaurant. A new voice came on the line. This is Margot Rousseau, General Manager. I understand there's an issue with the Winters reservation. There is. My name is Harper Hartley. The charge on March 3rd was made using my business credit card without my authorization. I'm requesting the reservation be cancelled and the charge disputed. Ms. Hartley, I'm looking at the reservation now. The card used was ending in 4892. I know. It's my company card. It was given to my father for legitimate business use only. Charging a personal family party to it is fraud. I see. Margot was quiet for a moment. Ms. Hartley, I need to be honest with you. If we cancel this reservation now, 2 hours before the event, your family will be left without a venue for what appears to be a significant celebration. Is there any way to resolve this that doesn't result in that outcome? They can pay for the reservation themselves, using their own money, not my company's money. The deposit has already been processed. Then they can pay it again, with their own funds, or they can find another venue. But I'm not paying for a party I wasn't invited to. You weren't invited? Margot's voice held new understanding. Oh, I see. Cancel the reservation, please. And I'll be filing a dispute with my credit card company for the unauthorized charge. Consider it done. I'm sorry you're in this situation, Ms. Hartley. So am I. I hung up and sat in the silence of my car. It was 4:22 p.m. In 2 hours and 8 minutes, my family would arrive at La Maison expecting a party. Instead they'd find nothing. Part of me felt guilty. It was Mom's 60th birthday after all. A milestone celebration. But the larger part of me felt something else. Something that had been building for years as I watched my family gather without me, celebrate without me, live their lives as if I was optional. I drove home to my apartment, a 2-bedroom in a building I'd bought 4 years ago. Hartley Property Group owned 18 apartment buildings across the city. I lived in one unit of one building, paying myself rent that went right back into the property's operating account. It was a modest place by my family's standards, which was exactly why they'd never understood my life. What they didn't know was that the building they loved, the luxury high-rise where Brooke lived, where Connor lived, where they'd all chosen apartments because it's the best building in the city, was also mine. I'd bought Riverside Tower 3 years ago for $87 million. Best investment I'd ever made. I changed into comfortable clothes, poured a glass of wine and waited. The call came at 6:47 p.m. Brooke. I let it ring 4 times before answering. Hello. Harper. Her voice was shrill, panicked. What did you do? I'm sorry, what? La Maison. They're saying there's no reservation. Mom's birthday party. Everyone's here, we're all dressed up and they're saying we don't have a reservation. That's strange. Did you book it properly? Of course we booked it properly. We confirmed it last week. But now they're saying it was cancelled. They said the card holder disputed the charge. What card did you use to book it? Silence. Brooke? What card? Dad's business card. The one you gave him. But Harper, that was for the business dinner we were going to have. We were going to discuss your properties at the party. You were going to discuss my properties at Mom's birthday party that I wasn't invited to? More silence. You didn't invite me to Mom's 60th birthday, I said, keeping my voice level. I found out about it through Instagram. While you were all there. Having the party. Without me. We thought. Connor said he told you. Connor didn't tell me anything. Nobody told me. You just didn't invite me. Harper, this isn't the time. No, this is exactly the time. You charged $12,000 to my business credit card for a party I wasn't invited to. That's fraud, Brooke. You stole from my company. It's not stealing if it's family. It's absolutely stealing. Dad's card is for business expenses only. A family party isn't a business expense. So I canceled the reservation and disputed the charge. You what? Harper, everyone is here. Mom is here. She's about to cry. How could you do this? How could I do this? How could you use my money for a party you deliberately excluded me from? We were going to tell you. When? During dessert? Oh, by the way, Harper paid for all of this, but we didn't want her here? It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Explain to me how charging $12,000 to my card for a party I wasn't invited to isn't exactly what it looks like. I could hear voices in the background. My mother's rising in distress. Connor's angry. My father's trying to mediate. Where are you? Brooke demanded. Are you home? I am. We're coming over. Right now. We need to fix this. No. What do you mean no? I mean don't come over. I don't want to see you right now. Harper, this is Mom's birthday. I know when Mom's birthday is. I had a gift wrapped and ready to give her. But I wasn't invited to give it to her. So maybe someone should have thought about that before stealing $12,000 from me. We didn't steal. Yes, Brooke. You did. You used my business card without authorization for a personal expense. That's textbook fraud. The fact that we're related doesn't change that. My brother's voice came through, distant but clear. Let me talk to her. Shuffling sounds, then Connor. Harper, what the hell? Hi, Connor. Enjoying the party? There is no party because you cancelled it. Do you know how humiliating this is? We have 24 people standing in a restaurant with no reservation. Should have paid for it yourselves. We didn't think. Dad said the card was fine. Dad's card is for business use. This wasn't business. Fine, whatever, we'll pay you back. Just call the restaurant and fix this. No. 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 You want to have a party? Find another venue and pay for it yourselves. With your own money. Not mine. Harper, this is petty and childish. Is it? Or is it a natural consequence of using someone's credit card without permission? We're family. You're supposed to help family. Help them. Sure. Fun parties I'm not invited to? No. You're really going to ruin Mom's birthday over this? I didn't ruin anything, Connor. You did. When you charged $12,000 to my card without asking. When you didn't invite me to the party. You ruined it. I just stopped paying for it. My father's voice now. Harper, sweetheart, there's been a misunderstanding. Has there? We thought you knew about the party. We thought Connor had told you. This is just a miscommunication. Dad, you charged $12,000 to my business card. Did you think that was appropriate? We were going to pay you back. Were you? How? And why didn't you ask first? It was easier. It was theft. Dad, I gave you that card for emergency business use when you were helping me negotiate the Henderson property purchase. That was 3 years ago. You were supposed to give it back. I thought, since we were family. Family doesn't mean you get to use my money without asking. Would you have given Connor $12,000 without discussing it first? That's different. How? How is it different? He had no answer. The card is cancelled, I said. Effective immediately. Don't try to use it again. Dad, next time you want to throw a party, use your own money. I could hear my mother crying in the background. It made my chest hurt, but I didn't relent. Harper, please, Dad said. Your mother is devastated. Can we come talk to you? Work this out. Did you invite me to her birthday party? We thought. Did you invite me? Yes or no? Silence. That's what I thought. Don't come over. I need space. Harper. I hung up. My hands were shaking. I set the phone face down on the coffee table and picked up my wine glass. Took a long drink. Then another. The phone started ringing again. Brooke. Then Connor. Then Dad. Then my mother. I didn't answer. Instead, I opened my laptop and pulled up the property management system for Riverside Tower. Brooke lived in Unit 2847. Connor in Unit 3012. Both high-end apartments, both paying premium rent. Rent that came to me though they didn't know it. I'd bought Riverside Tower 3 years ago through an LLC. The building was professionally managed and residents had no idea who actually owned it. I'd kept it that way deliberately. I didn't need my family knowing every detail of my business. But now maybe it was time they knew some things. I pulled up Brooke's lease. Current rent, $4,200 per month. She'd been there for 2 years. Always paid on time. No complaints. Connor's lease, $3,900 per month. 3 years. Also no issues. I could evict them. Could make their lives difficult. Could be petty and vindictive and make them pay in all sorts of ways. But I wouldn't. Because I wasn't them. Instead, I drafted an email to my property manager. Robert. Please note that the residents in Units 2847 and 3012 are family members. Going forward, all rent increases should apply to them the same as any other resident. No family discount, no special treatment. Current market rate for comparable units is $4,800 and $4,400 respectively. Please adjust their rent to market rate at next renewal. Asterisk. Asterisk also, they are not to be given any information about ownership. If they ask, maintain standard privacy protocols. Asterisk. Thanks. Harper. I sent the email and closed my laptop. My phone continued ringing. I ignored it. At 8:30 p.m. there was a knock on my door. I looked through the peephole. My mother stood there, still in her party dress, mascara streaked from crying. I almost didn't open it. Almost. But it was my mother. On her 60th birthday. I opened the door. Hi, Mom. Harper. Her voice broke. Please. Can we talk? I stepped aside to let her in. She walked to my couch and sat down carefully, like she was afraid of breaking something. I didn't know, she said. About the credit card. About you not being invited. I thought you knew about the party. I thought you'd said you couldn't come. Who told you that? Brooke. She said she texted you and you said you were busy. She never texted me. Mom, I found out about your party through Instagram. At 3 p.m. today. While it was happening. Mom's face crumpled. Oh, Harper. They didn't want me there. That's fine. People don't have to invite me to things. But they don't get to use my money to pay for events I'm excluded from. The credit card, your father said it was for business. He said you'd approved it. I didn't approve anything. Dad used a card he was supposed to have returned 3 years ago. Without asking. For a personal party. That's fraud, Mom. If he'd done that to anyone else's business, he'd be arrested. He didn't mean. Intent doesn't matter. He stole from my company. And Brooke and Connor went along with it because it was easier than paying for the party themselves. Mom was crying fully now. This is my fault. I should have checked. I should have made sure everyone was invited. I should have known. You should have, I agreed. But you didn't. Because it's easier to let Brooke plan things, to let Connor make decisions, to just go along with whatever they arrange. Even when it means excluding me. We don't mean to exclude you. Don't you? Mom, when was the last time I was included in a family event? She opened her mouth, then closed it. Thought. Christmas. Before that. Thanksgiving. I came to Thanksgiving because I invited myself. Brooke told me it was family only and I said I am family. She reluctantly told me what time. Before that. Mom couldn't answer. It's been 2 years, I said quietly. 2 years of being an afterthought. Of finding out about events through social media. Of watching you all gather without me. And I've dealt with it because I'm busy, because I have my own life, because I don't need constant family contact. But Mom, tonight was your 60th birthday. A milestone. And they didn't even tell me. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry too. Sorry that it took me canceling a party to make any of you notice I was being excluded. What do you want us to do? How do we fix this? I don't know if you can fix it. Trust is hard to rebuild. Please, Harper. You're my daughter. I love you. Do you? Because it doesn't feel like it. Feels like I'm the forgotten daughter. The one who's easy to leave out because she won't make a fuss. The one who's successful enough to steal from but not important enough to include. Steal from. Mom, they used $12,000 of my money without asking. For a party I wasn't invited to. How is that not stealing? She had no answer. We sat in silence for a while. Finally, Mom said, I didn't get to have my party tonight. Everyone went home. But Harper, could we have a birthday dinner? Just you and me? Tomorrow maybe. I looked at my mother. Really looked at her. She was 60 years old today, dressed in a beautiful gown for a party that hadn't happened, crying in my apartment because her family had imploded. What about Brooke and Connor? Dad. Just us. Please, let me take you to dinner. Let me celebrate my birthday with my daughter. The daughter I haven't been paying enough attention to. You're paying for dinner. Not me. Not my company. You. Of course. Harper, I would never. Mom, you just did. Tonight. You let them charge my card for your party. I didn't know. You should have known. You should have asked how it was being paid for. You should have made sure I was invited. There were a lot of things you should have done. You're right. And I'm sorry. Can we start over? Can I take you to dinner tomorrow and try to be a better mother? I wanted to say no. Wanted to hold on to my anger and hurt. Wanted to make them all feel the exclusion I'd felt. But she was my mother. And it was her birthday. Okay, I said finally. Tomorrow. 7 p.m. You pick the place. You pay. And Mom? We talk. Really talk. About why I've been excluded. About why nobody notices. About how things need to change. We'll talk. I promise. She stood, smoothing her dress. I should go. Let you rest. But Harper. Yeah. I'm proud of you. Your business, what you've built. I don't tell you enough, but I'm proud. Thanks, Mom. After she left, I sat in the quiet of my apartment and let myself feel everything I'd been holding back. The hurt of being forgotten. The anger of being stolen from. The exhaustion of always being the afterthought. My phone buzzed. A text from Brooke. You ruined Mom's birthday. I hope you're happy. I typed back. I didn't ruin anything. I just stopped paying for it. There's a difference. Another text, this time from Connor. We'll pay you back for the venue. But you didn't have to humiliate us like this. Pay me back by end of week, I replied. And Connor? Maybe don't use other people's credit cards without permission. Tends to avoid humiliation. Dad sent a message too. Harper, I'm sorry about the card. I should have asked. Can we talk? Card is cancelled, I wrote back. We can talk when you're ready to apologize for real. Not just because you got caught. I set the phone aside and opened my laptop again. Pulled up my business accounts, reviewed the disputed charge, confirmed the cancellation. Everything was in order. Clean. Professional. Done. Then I opened a different file. Gift ideas for Mom's birthday. I'd been working on this list for weeks trying to find the perfect present. At the top of the list, vintage first edition of her favorite book, $8.50. I bought it 3 weeks ago. It was wrapped and ready sitting in my closet. Tomorrow at dinner I'd give it to her. Because despite everything she was still my mother. And I still loved her. But things would be different now. They had to be. No more being the forgotten daughter. No more finding out about family events through Instagram. No more funding parties I wasn't invited to. I'd built a successful business by setting boundaries and demanding respect. It was time to do the same with my family. The next morning I woke to 17 missed calls and 43 text messages. I ignored most of them. But there was one from my property manager, Robert. Harper, your brother Connor called the office asking about a rent increase. Said he heard his rent was going up to market rate and wanted to know if it was a mistake. I told him adjustments are standard policy. He asked who owns the building. I maintained privacy protocols. Just giving you a heads up. I smiled. So Connor had figured out his rent was increasing. Good. Another text from Robert. Also, Brooke from Unit 2847 called asking the same thing. She seemed upset about the increase. Asked if there was a family discount available. I told her we don't offer family discounts. She asked who I meant by family. I didn't answer. They're both starting to figure something out. Perfect. I texted back. Thanks for the update. Maintain protocols. They'll figure it out eventually. At noon Connor called. I answered. Harper, do you know who owns Riverside Tower? Why do you ask? Because my rent is going up by $500 a month. And when I asked about it, the property manager was weird. Like he knew something. Do you know? Connor, I own a lot of properties. I can't keep track of every building in the city. But do you know who owns this one? Why would I know that? Because you're in real estate. Because you know things. Harper, is there something you're not telling me? There are lots of things I'm not telling you. Most people have things they don't tell their siblings. Damn it, Harper, this isn't a game. I can't afford a $500 rent increase right now. Then maybe you should have thought about that before you charged $12,000 to my credit card. Silence. That's what this is about. You're raising my rent as revenge. I'm not raising your rent, Connor. The property management company is adjusting rents to market rate. It's standard business practice. Your rent has been below market for years. Riverside Tower is a premium building. You've been getting a deal. A deal from who? I really need to go. But Connor, $12,000. By Friday. Or I'm taking legal action for credit card fraud. I hung up before he could respond. Brooke called 10 minutes later. It's you, isn't it? Hi, Brooke. What's me? You own our building. Riverside Tower. It's you. What makes you think that? Because my rent is going up the same week you canceled Mom's party and demanded we pay you back. Because Connor's rent is going up too. Because this is exactly the kind of petty revenge you'd pull. Adjusting rent to market rate isn't petty revenge. It's business. And Brooke? Whether I own the building or not, you used my credit card without permission. You owe me $12,000. That has nothing to do with your rent. I can't believe you're doing this to your own family. I can't believe you stole $12,000 from your own family. But here we are. We didn't steal. Yes, Brooke. You did. And now you're paying it back. Plus whatever your rent increases. That's called consequences. I'm telling Mom. Tell her. Tell her you used my business credit card without authorization. Tell her you're shocked that your rent is being adjusted to market rate. Tell her whatever you want. But you're still paying me back. She hung up on me. That evening, I met Mom at a small Italian restaurant she'd chosen. Quiet, intimate, good food. She was already there when I arrived, looking nervous. Harper. Thank you for coming. Happy birthday, Mom. I handed her the wrapped package. Her eyes filled with tears. You still got me a gift? After everything. I bought it 3 weeks ago. Before I knew I wasn't invited to your party. She opened it carefully, pulling back the wrapping to reveal the vintage first edition. Oh, Harper. This must have cost. It doesn't matter what it cost. I wanted you to have it. Thank you. She clutched the book to her chest. Thank you. We ordered wine, then dinner. And then we talked. Brooke called me, Mom said. She said you own their building. That you're raising their rent as revenge. Their rent is being adjusted to market rate. Standard business practice. It has nothing to do with revenge. But you do own it? I own a lot of buildings, Mom. Riverside Tower is one of them. How long have you owned it? 3 years. 3 years, she repeated. They've been living in your building for 3 years and you never told them? They never asked. They assumed it was owned by some faceless corporation. I didn't correct them. Why not? Because it was easier. Because I didn't want every family interaction to become about my business. Because I wanted them to see me as Harper, not as their landlord. Mom was quiet for a moment. Connor said you're threatening legal action over the credit card charge. It's not a threat. It's a fact. If they don't pay me back by Friday, I'm filing a police report for credit card fraud. I've given them the option to make it right. If they choose not to, I'll pursue it legally. Harper, they're your family. And I'm their family. But that didn't stop them from stealing from me. Mom, if someone you weren't related to used your credit card without permission for a $12,000 charge, what would you do? I'd report it. Exactly. So why should they get special treatment just because we're related? Because families forgive each other. Families also don't steal from each other. But here we are. She looked down at her wine glass. You're right. Of course you're right. It's just hard. Watching my children fight like this. I'm not fighting, Mom. I'm setting boundaries. There's a difference. It feels like fighting. That's because you're not used to me setting boundaries. You're used to me being quiet, being accommodating, being easy to overlook. But that stops now. What does that mean? It means I'm not funding parties I'm not invited to. I'm not lending business credit cards to people who'll misuse them. I'm not giving family discounts on rent to people who don't treat me like